What is good, everyone? This week's vlog is starting in, well, I'm not quite in the woods yet, but I'm about to approach the woods. I needed to get out for a bit of a walk, something that I'm actually going to start to do a little bit more of, and it comes from to be honest, a conversation that Lara and I had, a subsequent conversation that I also had with Christian. Also, to some degree, taking a little bit of my own advice, because one of the things that I think it's quite hard for people who aren't in this world to sort of comprehend exactly how consuming it is, and it is consuming for the right reasons. Like, as a coach, I fucking love this. Like, I really do. Being able to help people, being able to see people's lives change, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the above. You know, being able to help people who have been in the gym for years and years and years finally start to see progress. Being able to help people who have been really suffering with body confidence issues, with body image issues, and watching them just transform their whole self-worth. Like, this is such a rewarding thing, and I do absolutely love it. And that is the reason that it's also pretty consuming. You know, like, coaches will know this isn't like, this isn't a Monday, Friday 9 to 5. Like, even if we might be sat at our desks doing checking replies and writing plans and that kind of thing, you know, Monday, Friday 9 to 5, we're thinking about stuff all the time. You know, we're having to do stuff around that. We're making content like this, we're producing stuff, we're thinking about ideas, we're messaging clients, we're answering questions, we're speaking to people all the time and thinking about things. You know, it's not uncommon at all for a client will ask a question in their check-in, or they'll send me a message on WhatsApp, and you know, if I don't necessarily know the answer to it immediately, I'm going to be thinking about that for ages. I'm going to be going away, I'm going to be researching, I'm going to be making sure that I find out every little detail to be able to help them and give them the right answer. So it just doesn't really switch off. And that's why I think I sat with Lara the other night at dinner, and we had a bit of a conversation. I'd got myself in a bit of a state one particular day, and she did say to me something that probably opened my eyes a little bit, actually. And she said, you know, she's genuinely quite worried that I am about to burn out. And I've said that with a little bit of a smirk on my face, but it is a serious thing, and it is something that I need to manage, because, you know, there's more than just me to think about. Like, if I get to that point where I do burn out, like, nobody benefits from that, right? I certainly don't. She doesn't. Louis doesn't. My clients don't. So I do need to manage that more carefully. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself too. Like, you know, because life is busy and because there's a lot going on, and, you know, anyone with kids will appreciate that. You know, I am up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get my workouts in. I am then doing what needs to be done in the mornings to make sure I'm spending a bit of time with Lara and Louis. I am getting as much work as I can done in my working day, in order that I can then spend the time with Louis and Lara after work. Potentially, you know, I don't then switch off even in the evenings. It's getting dinner ready, it's meal prep, it's responding to messages, it's doing the social media stuff. Like, life doesn't stop, and that's the same at weekends. You know, I might not do check-ins at the weekend, although I do a few at the moment, but you know, clients are still messaging me and I'm still very much switched on. And I think I need to be much better and much more prepared to sort of say, look, if I've got a little bit of a gap, and to be honest, not even if I've got a little bit of a gap, to almost make the time to do something like this, to just get out, to walk, to be in nature, to just switch off. And I know I'm saying all this whilst I'm recording a video, but I'm going to stop this video soon, and I'm literally just going to walk, and I'm just going to enjoy my surroundings. I'm not going to be listening to anything in my ears. I've just got a coffee with me. I'm going to enjoy this walk in the woods and make the very most of it. And this is something that I do talk to clients about all the time, and I will say to them, you know, we all live busy lives. Every single one of us, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's whatever's going on, everyone needs that bit of downtime. Nearly just fell over there. That would teach me for trying to do this in the middle of the woods where there's roots on the floor. And everyone does need that. So finding or making the time to give yourself a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing space, a little bit of head space, ideally out in nature, get some sun on your back. Yeah, it is really, really important. So very, very much do that. But I'll leave this little bit here for now. Going to enjoy this time out in nature, nothing else here, nobody else around me because it's a really quiet little woods. Yeah, let's see just how much more relaxed I can come back afterwards. Good morning, people. It's a very, very quiet gym today. I think it's literally me and one other person in here. So push session is early doors, as you might be able to tell from my eyes and my voice. 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, in for push today. So let's get going. First top set on the flat press. That's the main pressing done. Right, chest pressing, flat press, top set back off, incline press, top set back off. Now moving to a fly movement. So we'll jump on the pec deck. Yeah, just to switch things up a little bit. Couple of big presses and then something a little bit more isolation in style. good morning. That is, I've already said good morning. I'm not used to recording myself actually speaking when I'm in the gym. But yeah, that is push session done. So we'll head back, get a pretty decent push session. Not as much progress as I've made the past couple of weeks, but again, that's, you know, one of those things, as I regularly say, you're not going to be progressing on every single movement every single week. So a little bit of progress is all good. So yeah, get back home, start getting things sorted. I don't think anyone will be up yet because it's just gone 6 o'clock in the morning because I had an early start. Even though I didn't necessarily need to be up quite as early today, I still quite like to get up early and just make the most of it, keeping that rhythm, keeping that routine. I think it makes a big difference. So yeah, we'll get back home, see if anyone is stirring. Louis is off to the childminders again. So today and tomorrow, his last day at the childminders for a few weeks. Next week is going to be one of those that will be slightly trickier to manage just because both Lara and I are working. So a little bit of additional help where we can from whoever is prepared to help us. Is primarily going to be Lara's mum because there aren't too many other people around. And then it's just going to be a case of she and I having to play tag team a little bit. But it is what it is. I think for her work will be slightly quieter. Most of her team have already gone on holiday. So in terms of like meetings and stuff that she would usually have, I think she won't have those. And then for me, it's just going to be a case of managing workload. So usually the way we've tried to do things is that sort of we each have a couple of hours with him in the morning, so the other one can get some work done for a couple of hours, and then ordinarily he will nap for a pretty decent nap in the afternoon at the moment. So usually his nap is anywhere between 2.5 and 3 hours, which obviously then gives both of us that 2.5, 3 hours to get a little bit more work done. But yeah, it's you know, parents will know the deal. It's always been one of those weird things with like school holidays. It's the kids end up getting, and in France they get absolutely loads of time off as well. I think they get something silly like 8 weeks off, which is all very well for the kids. It's all very well for the teachers, but it actually makes life pretty difficult for, you know, full-time working parents because you can't just take 8 weeks of time off. And even if each parent was to take like 4 weeks off, you're then never actually spending any time together. So I know a lot of you know, full-time working parents will relate to that and be able to appreciate that it can be a little bit difficult to manage. But you know, it's just one of those things that you have to do. It's just part of life. So we will make it work. And I think, you know, like the other thing that I'm trying more and more to think about is that it is more time for us to spend with Louis. It's very easy, I think, to almost like forget that is also part, not forget's the wrong word, but I think when you are full-time working people and you feel very invested in what you do for work, obviously that's the thing it's paying the bills, it's helping you to you know, put a roof over your head, and it's putting food on the table, etc. During the week, we actually don't get a huge amount of time with Louis. You know, when he's getting up in the morning, there's maybe an hour, and that hour is pretty much spent just getting him ready, getting him fed, and then dropping him off at the childminders. You know, there might be a little 10-15 minute window there where we can have a little play together. And then when we pick him up again, that window's a couple of hours, but within that couple of hours, again, we're getting him fed, we're getting him bathed, we're settling down for bed. So again, like the window of opportunity to actually sort of play together, there's, you know, maybe like half an hour, possibly an hour, depending on how much we sort of push his bedtime out. But he's very routine. He goes to bed at a certain time, like that very much works for him. He sleeps really well, and you know, we also don't want to sort of break that too much. I know it's something that as kids get a little bit older, parents are sometimes a little bit more willing to, you know, let the kids go to bed a little bit later during the summer holidays, but that normally ends up having a knock-on impact on everyone's routine, and then everyone just ends up getting a bit frustrated. So I'm all for keeping as much routine as possible. I certainly think it's something that benefits him. Like Louis right now benefits massively from having that routine, going to bed at that time, and he just knows that is bedtime for him. He's tired, he gets a really good night's sleep, and so do we. So, but yeah, anyway, that's next week. For now, we'll keep focused on doing what we need to do. My food has gone up since the check-in with Christian on Tuesday, so a little bit more food going in. Weight is relatively stable over the past couple of days, but it has only been like a couple of days of increased food, so that probably needs just a little bit more time to bed in. So we will feed up well today. We've got a little bit of stuff that we need to get sorted for Louis' little birthday party at the weekend at some point, and I'm not entirely sure when. We've got a trampoline to build, which who knows what on earth that is gonna be and how much effort is gonna have to go into that. I'm hoping it's relatively straightforward, but the trampoline that we've bought him is bloody massive. So it could be a multi-person job. There might be bits of it that I can get done by myself, but then there might also be bits of it where I need a second pair of hands. So anyway, lots to do, lots to get prepared, but for the time being, let's get home. Good morning. Monday morning. Let me just get this. Monday morning after a little bit of a farcical false start. I went to the usual gym that I go to on a Monday, which is the one that's a little bit closer to me. It's like a 6 or 7 minute drive. Not very far at all. Got there. All of these gyms are supposed to be 24-hour. Got there and it was completely shut, like the shutters down and everything, like fully shut. There had been issues yesterday with I think I've mentioned this before, they had this like thing where you had to reserve your slot, and then they'd done away with it for a while, and then they've just brought it back again. And yesterday I managed to get in okay, so I'd reserved my slot for whatever time I did, 4:45, 5 o'clock, something like that. I managed to get in okay, but then pretty much everyone who was then turning up from about 6 o'clock wasn't able to get in. It just wasn't working. So it's obviously they've completely messed it up again. And I wouldn't be surprised if actually one of the reasons that it was all shut up is because basically the turnstile things just don't work. So the whole 24-hour thing at the moment seems to be completely buggered at that gym. You can probably only go there during manned hours is my guess. Manned hours during the week, that doesn't start until 6 o'clock in the morning. It's 6 o'clock in the morning now and I'm heading home. So that just doesn't work for me. But so yeah, I went there this morning, drove up there into the car park, and I could just see it was fully shut. So for fuck's sake. So fortunately I do have access to another club like in the same town I live. They're just on opposite sides of town. So the one that I usually go to on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is 6 or 7 minutes away. And then the one that I normally go to on a Thursday and Friday, the one I've just been to this morning, is about 15 minutes drive. So none of them are very far, but they're in opposite directions. So I'd driven the 6-7 minutes to the one I had planned to go to, and that then was all shut up, and so I then had to drive the 15 minutes to the other one. Fortunately, I'm not in like a massive rush this morning. Like Lara's not in the office, even though both of us are working this week, and Louis off the childminders, so that's a slightly different topic. Another week where we need to sort of manage things, and Lara's mum's going to help us out as much as possible, but there's still going to be situations like early this morning where we're tag teaming one another to sort of let each other get a little bit of work done while the other one watches Louis until Lara's mum arrives. That's just how it is. I've got, my Monday early in the week is typically much busier for me, which, as I say, is just part and parcel. But it is what it is. This is Lara's last week, then she's off for a couple of weeks, so she'll be able to sort of manage Louis a little bit more while I'm working, but I'm still going to try and have a little bit of downtime. So what I normally do in these situations is I try and get everything as much like planned, prepped and stuff in advance as I can. So I've done a huge amount of that over the past few weeks. And then I like to get what I refer to as more of like my must-dos. So like check-ins and stuff all still happen. Try and get those done in the morning, which then frees me up in the afternoon to spend a little bit more time with Lara and Louis. So yeah, it's going to be, these next few weeks are going to be a little bit trickier to manage. And then once we're through those, Louis then goes back to the childminder for a week, and then we go on holiday. So he's off for another couple of weeks, but my parents are coming across. So everything's just a little bit full on right now, but that is part and parcel. Last week was manic as well. It was Louis' second birthday, so over the weekend that was all a bit just getting sort of prepped for everything on Saturday. So I built a trampoline on Friday, which you will see the little very much sped up video. I think it probably took me about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 maybe, in like 30+ degree full sunshine in our garden. So that was a rather sweaty affair, but that was then done, that was up. So that was very much enjoyed over the weekend. Louis loved it. Saturday we had a little cycle into town in the morning, just potted around for a bit, had a drink, and then made our way back so Louis could have a nice nap. And then he got a little opportunity just to play in the garden with some of his birthday stuff. So we got the trampoline, obviously. He got like a water table. So lots of fun being had outside in the sun. And then yesterday was similar. So we just had a few people around ours, did a barbecue. Louis was enjoying himself, just playing with everything possible, all of his presents. So just a lot of fun. Very busy, very full on. Everyone pretty shattered by the end of it, just spending lots of time outdoors in the sunshine and the heat. Me and Yannick, who came to visit, we did a little bit of DIY stuff. So yeah, all in all, just one of them, as I say, pretty busy, pretty full on, but lots of fun. And Louis had a really good second birthday, and we'll sort of get an opportunity to re-celebrate it when my parents come across. So my parents obviously haven't been able to see him on his actual birthday, which they were here for last year. But they'll, when they come across later in the month and we all go away on holiday, assuming we get away, because the place that we are due to go, the place that we've booked, is right down where a lot of the fires have been happening. But the actual place that we're due to stay have said that they are open again, like the fires haven't impacted them too much or at all. So at the moment, the plan is very much just to still go and have a holiday, still get away, and just see how it is. But yeah, Monday morning, the week has begun. Really good second push session for me. Lots of progress being made, even if it's not necessarily totally comparable, because I don't usually do that session at that gym, but it was a good session nonetheless. So yeah, on my way home, it is about 6:10 in the morning. I don't think anyone will be awake when I get home, other than Crumble the cat, because she wakes up when I get up. So she was up at 4 o'clock this morning with me. She'll probably have gone back to sleep, but she'll wake up as soon as I get home again, because she'll either want feeding or she'll want fuss made of her. It's because she's a little attention slag. And then it's the case of getting Louis sorted, getting him fed. I'm not sure which of Lara and I is taking first shift. We'll figure that out when we get there. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty manic, pretty full on. One of those days where it's probably just chained to the desk when we can, laser focus in those moments, and then a little bit of relief while Louis gets a nap. And we're hoping he gets a long one. His naps are starting to get a little bit shorter. He had been getting sort of a pretty solid 2.5, 3 hours nap in the afternoon for quite a while now, but they do seem to be creeping down more towards sort of 2 hours to 2.5 hours at the moment. And at some point he's going to be dropping those, because when he heads to school, preschool next year, I'm pretty sure they're not going to allow the nap situation. So anyway, I am not too far from home. The sunrise is looking spectacular over behind the cathedral, which you won't be able to see because I'm in the car. One morning I'll try and get a video of that, because it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. But yeah, we're nearly home. We're not far away now. So let's go and get sorted, and I'll be back again soon. Good morning. That is back and hamstrings done. Another very, very good session this week. Another early one, 4 o'clock start. Usually I do this session in the other gym as well, but I honestly just can't be bothered to be messing around with that gym at the moment, in the risk that it's going to fuck around and do what it did yesterday. So I just came straight up to this one. Whew, no messing about today. So here we go. Let's put that in there. Just put that one on there. So I don't sweat all over the seat. This has lost my face. That's helpful, isn't it? Here we go. Oh man, subject lost. Yeah, just about sums up life at the moment. Let's get this sorted. Right, here we go then. Face track enabled. Oh, my phone's gone all over the place. What is going on today? What is going on? So, back and hamstrings done, and a very, very good session indeed. Lots of progress indeed, which is always really nice. Again, one of those funny ones that, because I'm using a different gym to usual, and yes, the equipment is the same brand, etc., etc. Something that is definitely worth noting is that it's not completely possible to compare, just because the way that the machines are maintained, the age of them, all of that stuff does make a difference. I know I'm particularly anal about trying to use the same piece of equipment every time I train, just because to me that's what gives me the most comparable, whether I've progressed or not. Even if it's like, again, like just using this as an example, the gym that I usually do my back and hamstring session at has, I think it's got 5 different lat pull down machines of varying. One's a plate loaded one, one's like a cable resistance machine. You've then got 3 of the different sort of traditional lat pull downs with the cables. But because they're all slightly different, they're all going to feel different as well. So as much as I possibly can, I will try and use the same piece of equipment, just because to me that's going to give me the most comparable way of gauging whether I have or haven't made any progress on that particular movement. It doesn't make a massive difference. I'd say it depends. Depending on how well maintained equipment and stuff is, like it can make a significant difference. If you're using one piece that's like really, really well looked after, potentially even brand new, like it's smooth, it's well greased and oiled, that is going to feel vastly different to a really old bit of kit that's just rusting up, like hasn't been treated well, hasn't had any grease or oil put through it for years. you know, those things do make a difference. So anyway, it was at a different gym, which means that, you know, things aren't 100% comparable, but given that it is the same branded equipment, it's the same pieces of equipment, just in two different gyms, not, you know, it's not going to be a million miles out. So yeah, probably able to say that progress was indeed had, and ultimately it's about how hard you're pushing. You know, the intensity plays a big role. You know, your body doesn't necessarily know whether it's, you know, using a particular piece of equipment or not. It just knows whether the tension's there, whether the intensity's there, how hard you're pushing yourself. So as long as you're pushing yourself hard, you're going to be, you know, you're going to be doing the right things. So yesterday was a decent day in terms of the first day of Lara and I both working, Louis being off the childminder. Lara's mum came for the majority of the day, which was really helpful. You know, it just allowed Lara and I to really sort of crack on. Today's going to be slightly different just because her mum isn't available until this afternoon, so we're going to have to tag team a little bit this morning. I think I'm going to take first work shift, and then I will take over the Louis watching, and then Lara will get her bit of work done, and then we're hoping that her mum will be there sort of early afternoon, even though at that point Louis is probably going to have gone down for a nap, but she will then be there, Lara's mum will be there when Louis wakes up, so that we can continue to get a little bit of work done for, you know, another couple of hours after he's woken up from his nap. So yeah, all in all, not too bad at the moment. I think we've then got something similar happening on Wednesday. Louis actually got his two-year checkup on Wednesday afternoon. So Lara's mum, I can't remember whether she's coming at all on that day. I think she might be coming for the morning on that day to help out in the morning, and then because we'll be heading off in the afternoon, by the time we've got back from taking him to the appointment, I can watch him, and then Lara can crack on with some work, and then if I have to work a little bit later, that's fine. So again, just those situations at the moment. We're just having to manage everything, but it's been good. He's pretty good fun at the moment, actually. He's quite cheeky, and he has his little naughty moments when he's getting tired, but he is also a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been good. Check-in sent to Christian. I'll pop the pictures up just so you can see these. A very small jump up on the average weight this week. I mean, literally like half a pound, if that. Might even be about 0.4 of a pound on the average. A little bit more movement in the past couple of days. So the past probably the past 2 or 3 days have been up into the 161s. Towards the early stage of last week, it was pretty much down into the 159s. So hence the average being not massively up, but the past few days have seen a slightly bigger bounce. There's been a little bit of birthday cake, you know, there's been a barbecue in there, there's been lots of time spent out in the sun and the heat, so, you know, all of that is going to contribute to the weight just jumping up a little bit. Nothing to worry about. I think the pictures are still looking pretty decent. I'm still looking pretty lean. You know, yes, it's starting to fade a little bit from where I was at photo shoot, but, you know, that's normal. I am closing in now on 10 pounds up from the shoot. After, it's crazy to think that we're not far off 3 months post shoot now. I think this is week 11 post shoot. So yeah, pretty crazy to think that we are, the shoot was that long ago. But anyway, the pictures are there as about 0.4 of a pound up on average. I will follow this one up with the final little update following Christian's reply, but considering that we made a little bit of a bump in food last week, I don't expect to see another one this week, and especially considering the weight has jumped up a little bit these past couple of days. So I think it'll probably be another week of just continuing to do what we need to do, keep making progress in the gym, because training's been very, very good indeed. I don't know why this car is driving so slowly. But yeah, I'll be back again with that final little update. What is up, guys? So there we have it. The check-in reply has come back, and as expected, no changes necessary. £0.5 up on average, which is everything moving in the right direction. Progress flying when it comes to the gym. Physique is looking solid, so no changes needed, and all as normal for the next week at least. So I'm going to leave this one here. I've given you lots and lots of info and update in this one so far. Any questions and stuff, please do let me know. And if you've watched right to the end, which I do massively appreciate, just pop the word headphones in the chat, and that'll be amazing. But like, subscribe, share, do all the good stuff that keeps me enjoying this, keeps me recording this content. Because yeah, it's definitely something that it's useful for me. So hopefully it's useful for you too. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic week.